You're so far away, Scott. Oh, it's okay. I'll wave to you. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Come find a seat. For those of you joining us, we just had a treat to get to learn with Dr. Windmuller about the American and Jewish story over the past 250 years, and we'll get a chance a little later in the service to continue to reflect and learn from that. And as we greet this chance of moving into Shabbat, moving into the end of our weeks, we hope that you'll sing with us, even if you don't know the words or the tunes. We hope that you'll find someone near you who you don't know and just greet them and welcome them. And we hope that this can be a space of respite and renewal for all of us. I think Rabbi Goldberg's going to start by teaching us a nigun.
We're going to learn a new song tonight. So I'll invite everyone to repeat after me. Yai, 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 yai. Try that. Yai, 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 yai. Now listen. Yai, 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 yai. Try that. Yai, 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 yai. We'll do all of that together. Yai, yai, yai. Listen to this whole part. One more time. From the beginning.
As the sun sets, we'll bring in some light into this space. Hopefully then that's contagious and that light will spread into our homes and into our communities and world. And so I'm going to invite up our rabbinic intern, Levi Gettleman, who is here with us tonight to help bring in our Shabbat light. We're on page 2.
You should get a lighter. We should really get a lighter. Yep, that one's... Try again. I'm going to try again. This is great.
We're not hazing our rabbinic intern.
I'm too strong. Are you any good at these?
Let's try.
They're very flimsy. Ah.
Oh.
Huh?
There's a metaphor here.
There is a metaphor.
Don't burn yourself. Oh, that I'm not worried about.
Okay. We did it. You have a mic right there.
Oh, I have a mic right there. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Thank you.
And we'll rise and turn to page 5 as we bring in sweetness into our Shabbat with Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lemase v'reshit, ki hu yom techila lemikra'ei kodesh, zecher litziat Mitzrayim, kivanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. Amen. Please be seated. We'll turn in our Sidurim to the back, page 344. Shiru Ladonai Shir Chadash. This pasuk comes from the Psalms, which we recite as we enter into Shabbat. And so as we enter into Shabbat this evening, we will channel these words, sing a song, sing a new song, channel forth song, and make this evening special, full of music and full of community and full of joy. Page 344. Shiru Ladonai kol haaretz, Shiru Ladonai shir chadash, Shiru Ladonai kol haaretz, Shiru Ladonai shir chadash. Sing unto God all the earth a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God and we'll all sing along. All the earth a new song unto God. Shiru Adonai kol haaretz, Shiru Adonai shir chadash, Shiru Adonai kol haaretz, Shiru Adonai shir chadash.
We'll turn back in our prayer books to page 20 as we move into Kabbalat Shabbat with Lecha Dodi. We'll be doing verses 1 and 2 on page 20 and 5 and 9 on 21.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Bnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Bnei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad, Hishmi'anu el hamiuchad, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם תפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה. מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
Top of 21.
התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי. אורי, אורי, שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
We rise, bottom of 21, and face the entrance.
בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצולה. תוך אמוני ים סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
We'll continue standing and turn to 28 for our call to worship, the Baruch Hu.
Yalla lay lay lay, 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 yalla lay lay lay. Ba'et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, Le'olam va'ed, Le'olam va'ed. Yalla lay lay lay, 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 yalla lay lay lay.
In 1790, President George Washington wrote this letter to the Jews of Newport, Rhode Island, as he affirmed that religious freedom was an inherent natural right to all citizens. Here's what he wrote. For happily the government of the United States, which gives to bigotry no sanction, To persecution no assistance requires, only that they who live under its protection should demean themselves as good citizens, in giving it on all occasions their effectual support. May the children of the stock of Abraham who dwell in this land continue to merit and enjoy the goodwill of the other inhabitants, while everyone shall sit in safety under his own vine and fig tree, and there shall be none to make him afraid. As we recite our foundational words of faith, we recall with gratitude and with hope these foundational words from our first president, and also the vision that it offers us in America to continue to fight to become a place where all peoples can live together in celebration rather than in fear of one another's faith. We'll join together in words of Shema on page 34.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
As our people once stood looking out to the shores of freedom as they were leaving the oppression of Egypt with a renewed sense of hope, one of our nation's greatest symbols was meant to offer that feeling of possibility as well. The Jewish poet Emma Lazarus had become deeply involved in the 1880s with helping Jewish refugees fleeing violent pogroms in Eastern Europe, and she began volunteering in New York at Ward's Island, where newly arrived refugees were being housed. And these experiences colored her writing of the famous sonnet, The New Colossus, inscribed in the pedestal of the Statue of Liberty. Rather than writing about liberty in the abstract, she imagined this statue speaking directly to the displaced peoples who she knew firsthand. And she redefined this statue not as a monument of conquest, but as a mother of exiles, welcoming the most vulnerable who were in search of safety. And so as we are reflecting tonight on these past 250 years of history in America and of American Jews, I'd like to share her words with you. Not like the brazen giant of Greek fame, with conquering limbs astride from land to land, here at our sea-washed sunset gate shall stand a mighty woman with a torch, whose flame is the imprisoned lightning, and her name, Mother of Exiles. From her beacon hand glows worldwide welcome. Her mild eyes command the air-bridged harbor that twin cities frame. Keep, ancient lands, your storied pomp, cries she with silent lips. Give me, you're tired, you're poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed, to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. Holding her vision, we join in our words of liberty, Micha Mocha, on page 40.
Teilot Osef Elen Nora Teilot Osef Elen Yai
from this image of freedom into one of sanctuary, as our nighttime prayer Hashkivenu invites us to both imagine and to create a Sukkot Shalom, a shelter of peace, one whose doors are open to all those in need and to each of us in this space who could all use that sense of safety and fullness as well. The words can be found on your supplemental pages, bottom right. Please join with us.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom, leshalom, ve'amidenu malkeinu lechayim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Shelter us beneath thy wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen. 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 Just our voices.
Amidah begins on page 46. We'll invite you to rise in all the ways you're able.
Adonai ufatai tiftach ufi yagid teilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Hasadim Tovim, v'Konei Hakol, v'Zocher Hastei Avot v'Imahot, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה הכל אתה, רב להושיע, מוריד הטל. מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום, יהללוך סלה. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
We'll continue with the words of the Amidah through page 62, or you can continue with quiet prayer, the words of your heart, and be seated whenever you're ready.
As Dr. Windmuller taught us earlier this evening, it was in 1939 when Irving Berlin's God Bless America was top of the charts on the radio. Wrote Berlin, from the mountains to the prairies to the oceans white with foam. Now, Berlin wrote about this natural beauty and thus perfection that our country emanated, but it was Woody Guthrie who became increasingly annoyed at the sappiness and the perhaps blind patriotism that he would have said. Whereas, in fact, so many Americans at the time were actually not having a great experience. The Great Depression was probably into its 9th or 10th year. Guthrie himself was not a statistician, but we now know from data that 20% of American land rested with 1% of the population at the time. Now, Guthrie would travel across the country by train and as a hitchhiker, and he would share stories and hear stories with migrants and factory workers and farmers, many of whom were seeking work. And his entire ideology at the time was to add to Berlin's notion that, yes, America has mountains and prairies and oceans white with foam, but also there are folks who don't have many blessings at the time, and America still has work to do. And so wrote Guthrie, I am out to sing songs that will prove to you that this is your world, and that if it has hit you pretty hard or knocked you for a dozen loops, no matter what color, what size you are, how you are built, I am out to sing the songs that make you take pride in yourself and in your work. And the songs that I sing are made up, for the most part, by all sorts of folks just like you. Guthrie teaches that we live in a really beautiful home and that we have a lot of work to do to make our home even more beautiful. On our secondary supplements, I'll invite us to sing along together. It's in your prayer book. You can also share with a neighbor if you'd like to. This land is your land, this land is my land, from California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. As I was walking that ribbon of highway, I saw above me that endless skyway. I saw below me that golden valley. This land was made for you and me. As I went walking, I saw a sign there, and on the sign it said, no trespassing, but on the other side, it didn't say nothing. That side was made for you and me. In the shadow of the steeple, I seen my people. By the relief office, oh, I seen my people. As they stood there hungry, I stood there asking, is this land made for you and me? Nobody living can ever stop me as I go walking, oh, that freedom highway. Nobody living can never make me turn back. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land, this land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land was made for you and me.
Holding the vision of both Woody Guthrie and Irving Berlin, tonight we are going to get to dive into that story of America and American Jewry even more with Dr. Stephen Windmuller. He is a teacher to many of us, but for those of you who are new to his wisdom, He is an emeritus professor of the Jewish Communal Service at the Jack H. Skirball campus of the Hebrew Union College Jewish Institute of Religion in Los Angeles. And as we learned in our study session, I had to include the full name of HUC to reflect the merger that we learned about and that happened. Prior to coming to HUC, Dr. Windmuller served for 10 years as the JCRC director of the LA Jewish Federation. He's the author of 4 books and numerous articles, and his research and writings focus on Jewish political behavior, communal trends, and contemporary anti-Semitism. And on a personal note, he was not only my teacher, and raise your hand if you were a student of Dr. Windmuller's. I know Jenna was. I was. No, Rabbi Goldberg? Okay, well, you're getting it in this moment. You're exactly. We are all ongoing students. He was also my thesis advisor. And his work on power has been a big influence on my thinking and actually influenced my writing on a thesis on power. So we're so grateful that he's here tonight to continue some of the learning that we had. He'll always leave us with more insights and questions to be had. And of course, is a cherished member also of our Leo Beck Temple community, a past member of the Leo Beck Temple board. And we're very grateful to learn with you tonight. You can clap. Yes, definitely.
Thank you, Rabbi Bernie. Thank you, Rabbi Goldberg. Thank you to my family, friends, study partners who have joined us, and to former students, and to those who are streaming with us. This evening we've studied about America and how American Jews have helped reinvent this society. And we will continue that journey here for a few moments. In so many ways, Jews reinvented themselves in coming to these shores. They were a different people than they have become, and we continue to evolve and to participate in that journey. In so many ways, this is a story of 4 core principles: the great ideas, the great personalities, the essential moments, and the enduring contributions. The great ideas here is really negotiating between who we were and what we would become, and this unique relationship with the United States. Earlier, I spoke about the Jewish contract, about Peter Stuyvesant and others. But here I want to talk about an event that ties to the American Revolution, one that often is not told, that expands well beyond Chaim Solomon, of significance and importance as he was. British Admiral George Rodney was supposed to arrive at Yorktown to come together with General Cornwallis to ultimately defeat the American armies and their supporters from France. That did not happen. And it did not happen because of an island inhabited by 100 Jews who were part of a Dutch community of Saint Eustatius. Saint Eustatius was an open trading center where the Portuguese, the French, and others would trade with the Dutch. And it was an opportunity for those who lived on Saint Eustatius to provide a kind of weapon support system for the American Revolution. And indeed, those who were assisting in that were part of those who owned the commercial vessels from Newport, Rhode Island, who would go to St. Eustatius, pick up these arms, and bring them back to the armies of the American Revolution. General Rodney, when he arrived at this port, was so angered by the reality that this was the central organizing station for the American Revolutionary Forces, that he destroyed all of the Jewish homes on St. Eustatius, captured 9 of the Jewish residents, and there were approximately 100 of them. And he was so delayed in this process, and his language was as follows: this infamous island, this American rebellion, could not have been sustained had it not been for these people. And these people were our people. An extraordinary story of the willingness of Americans and of our friends and allies to assist us in this particular moment. That is but one moment in a construct of stories, of events that would change and alter the ways in which we understood ourselves and our community. With Lincoln's passing, there was a rabbi in Philadelphia by the name of Sabato Moraesis, an Italian Jew who had recently come to the United States, but he had fallen in love with Lincoln, as so many American Jews had. And on the 1st of June, 1865, which was declared a national day for mourning of the past president, our 16th president, this rabbi would articulate the following: I loved every action, every word of that godly man. I loved him for his patriarchal simplicity, for he loved us as a nation. He sustained us for his generous impulses, his forbearing disposition, his tender compassion for all the oppressed. These words and so many others define this moment in the loss of the 16th president. There were other such expressions. Colonel Marcus Spiegel, a military professional from Kentucky who would fight in the American Union forces against the Confederacy, would write hundreds of letters to his family each day, each week, and each year of the war. Over 4 years, he would carry forth this conversation in letters to his wife and his children about his love for them, his love of this country, his belief in making them proud and positive Jews in the American scene. He was hailed by his own soldiers. He was seen as a leader and hero. On the closing days of the war, he would be brought down by a bullet that would ultimately kill him. But he was so loved by his soldiers that they buried him appropriately in a Jewish setting, because they understood that he was not of their faith or tradition, but that he needed to be honored and that faith and tradition needed to be respected. That too is a story of citizenship, of responsibility, and of leadership. We also come to other great personalities in the course of our discourse. We think of Lillian Wald, the founder of the National Council for Jewish Women, but who was also an extraordinary leader in the NAACP, or Julius Rosenwald, who was able to construct schools for African Americans throughout the South, both elementary and high schools, but also would lead to the creation of the first Black American colleges, part of the whole construct of American higher education for African Americans. These two were heroes, storytellers, and advocates for the causes they believed in. And no doubt we remember Michael Schwerner and Andrew Goodman, who in 1964 were part of a group killed as part of the civil rights movement. But names we don't necessarily know, like Chuck Medu. Medu was chairman of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee in 1960. He was an African American, but he was also Jewish. And he was proud of both and contributed greatly to the role that SNCC would play in the period of civil rights. This has been a part of that extraordinary tale of individuals who gave of themselves for causes they believed in. But let us talk about another particular player or cause. We're reminded from our own congregation that two of our members, both of whom happen to be rabbis, participated in Martin Luther King's request that they join him in St. Augustine to desegregate that community. They would be arrested, and as part of the 17 rabbis that joined Martin Luther King Jerry Goldstein and Rabbi Richard Levy, both of blessed memory, would share in the writing of a letter from the prison at St. Augustine. And that letter itself is powerful and meaningful to us even today, because it reflects their belief that there was much to be done in both the North and the South, and there were obligations that we would have as citizens well beyond 1964 that we would need to maintain. This was also a moment in which, as a community, we understood the particular importance and value of defining the place we would see for ourselves. In so many ways, there were two particular traditions that helped frame this era. One of them involved the notion of a culture of entrepreneurship and business. Jews, having lived throughout history and throughout the world, understood that they needed to be statesmen, risk takers, have an affinity for trading, understood the importance of learning the skills of basic techniques and of particular tasks that others would not be fulfilling. And in doing so, developed a set of skills that was portable. Those portable skills become important in a new society as Jews adopt from medicine and law and commerce and finance to realize that they would be able to fully participate because of the impression and importance of education, the value of community, the centrality of ethnicity, and the belief system that as a community they were proud to be Jewish and proud to be representative of a community in the public circles. It's also important to understand that in this particular framework, this was a society that was seen as distinctively unique. It was seen as a society in which we were identified as a kind of unique place in the history of civilization. And that uniqueness was best described by Alexander de Tocqueville in the 1830s, when de Tocqueville studied America and returned to France to give a kind of assessment of how America appeared in the world and its distinctive, unique characteristics. De Tocqueville spoke specifically about the role of religion in America and the power of freedom in this society, and seeing the two, the spirit of religion, as he would put it, and the spirit of liberty, working in complete harmony. He also studied the separation of church and state and said this was notable and essential for keeping religion entirely separate from government power, faith removed from independent moral authority. Religion, in his mind, fundamentally molded the intellectual and moral habits of the American people, and as such created a unique republic, a republic that was different from anything that he had understood or seen. These then were part of the features of building this society. They were part of the characteristics of why this was a different place. I have a personal tale. Some of you know this story, but it is worth repeating here and now. In 1938, there were families leaving Europe, especially Germany, in the wake of the rise of Hitler and the power of what was happening with the Nuremberg laws, the imposition of attacks on Jews, the threats to Jewish security and to Jewish lives. But very few countries would accept Jews. There was one family situated on the Dutch-German border unable to find a new home. Canada refused them. Australia turned them down. Cuba rejected them. The United States did not accept them on the basis that one of the members of this family had had polio and therefore was considered not of perfect body or mind, according to the 1924 Johnson Immigration Act. And therefore they were disqualified. But they had a sponsor who went to Franklin Roosevelt personally and made this extraordinary request. Mr. President, You who had polio have risen to the top office in this country. Give this family and this individual that same opportunity to make it here in America. And with that, Franklin Roosevelt signs a waiver that allows my parents to come to this country. So America has a storyline for each of us, a powerful one in some cases, a basic one in others. But it is the idea of stories that really define who we are, that distinguish between another society and this unique and wondrous place. A society that today is being challenged as never before, but as a society that will nonetheless be essential for Jews and others if we want to preserve the principles of liberty, of justice, and of human decency. Shabbat Shalom.
Yasher Koach, Dr. Windmuller, thank you so much for sharing of your wisdom with our community.
And your story.
Dr. Windmuller spoke about the importance of stories in relation to who we are as human beings, but also who we are as Jews. We all have our own stories, and in those stories are wrapped up the joys of our lives and of our families, and also the moments in our lives that are difficult, or the people in our lives who are suffering or struggling. And for folks who have been with us, we know that every Shabbat we have an opportunity to recite a Mishaberach prayer, a prayer for healing, healing of the mind, of the body, of the spirit. And so what I'll invite us to do is perhaps close your eyes and bring to mind someone or someone's in your lives who are in need of that healing, or in need of that love, or that strength or support, and hold them. And for folks who feel comfortable, if you'd like to share their names aloud with our community, you're welcome to do so. You can either do so out loud, or you can just share their names in your hearts, and you can do so as our eyes meet. We'll start over here. We can turn in our Sidurim to page 253 in the middle for our Mishaberach Lecholim, page 253. Mishaberach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Visheberach imotenu v'kor habracha la'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Aleinu can be found on page 282. We invite you to rise.
Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon hakol, la'tet gedula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu kigoye ha'aratzot, velo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kaem, vegor aleinu kechol amonam, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. Page 287. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד ושמו אחד ושמו אחד.
Words to prepare us for Mourner's Kaddish. These are from the poet Mary Oliver in Blackwater Woods. Look, the trees are turning their own bodies into pillars of light, are giving off the rich fragrance of cinnamon and fulfillment. The long tapers of cattails are bursting and floating away over the blue shoulders of the ponds. And every pond, no matter what its name is nameless now. Every year, everything I have ever learned in my lifetime leads back to this, the fires and the black river of loss, whose other side is salvation, whose meaning none of us will ever know. To live in this world, you must be able to do three things: to love what is mortal, to hold it against your bones, knowing your own life depends on it, and when the time comes, to let it go, to let it go. As we recite Kaddish this Shabbat, we especially remember Sarah Allen, Rabbi Jacob Bauman, Max Bauman, Doris Chartrand, Joy Morris Chermak, Yosef Cohen, Simon Davis, Alexandra Fischel, Florence Flom Daniels, Mort Gantman, Louise Weinman Girdwin, Buff Given, Barbara Goldenberg, Judith Maccabee Hakim, Eileen Reeves, Frank Leon Rose, Leo Rose, Erwin Segan, Leon Labe Segan, Harold Seltzer, Esther Smith, Marvin Smith, Bessie Stern, Adam Carl Weil, and Fanny Wolf. If there are other names that you are thinking of, I'll invite you to share them out loud at this time. We also think of all of those who have died as innocent victims of violence in a world that together we must be part of moving closer towards peace. We'll rise as one community for words of Kaddish Yatom from Mourner's Kaddish on page 294.
Yitkadal,
V'yikadash Shemei Rabbah, V'yama divrach Yereteh v'yamlich malchuteh, B'chayechon u'v'yom echon u'v'chayeh d'chol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala u'v'zman karev v'imru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olamei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shemei d'kudesha barechu, Le'elam min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, ta'amiram be'alma v'imru Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru
Amen.
Amen. Zichronam levracha, may their memories continue to be a blessing and a guide to us all.
Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru Amen. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Thank you, Dr. Wim Mueller.